about the installation part. So we'll be doing it, and the last 30 or 40 minutes, I just take it to introduce, the 12C. So Wednesday we will proceed, okay, with other concept and other practicals. Let me share my screen first. Host, can you enable participant share, or you make me the host? I cannot share my screen.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Renata, I sent you a message, please.
Who is it?
Brian.
Okay.
Do you enable it, please?
Okay, guys, so let me just make you the host.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Let me share my screen now. Okay. Okay. I said I will spend some time first. Oh, let me start everything from scratch even. I want to start it from scratch for you, okay? I don't want you guys to how did you install? I install in the morning, I install so that I will install it. I want to move some stuff and start with the installation in a moment. And I will talk about some prerequisites, okay? Because what matters is not just the installation. Maybe it can be easy for you here, but there are multiple activities involved in this stuff. Everything is here. All right. All right. Okay. So to bring us first to the concept of installation, before you install an Oracle software, okay, there are some prerequisites that should be met. And normally, whenever you are downloading a software, okay, you should have a README file that's associated with the software, a README file. And that README file will tell you, the prerequisite, what has to be set before you install the software. Let me take some example. You cannot install an Oracle software 12C or 18C on any operating system version. So let's assume that you are dealing with Linux version 5 or 4 or Red Hat, whatever. If the minimum version is not met, okay, you cannot install the software. So when Oracle provides you a software, gives you the requirement. So those requirements should be met. That means the minimum operating system version. Some packages have to be installed, okay? So RPM packages that have to be installed. Some parameters. You guys, the database administrator updates what we call database parameters, but the sysadmin updates what we call kernel parameters. So we have parameters at the operating system level, and for every single Oracle version, some of them, okay, have to be updated. Okay, we need some minimal values for those parameters, and it should be updated. Let me see if I have a document for the morning class. Okay, no. So this is what I showed in the morning. And this is, for instance, some parameter that should be updated. So whenever you are getting the README file, okay, for each version, Oracle will provide the README file, the value. So it should be set up by the sysadmin, and that there are some files he should update, like the sysconfig file. Those are OS, okay, sysadmin file that they should master in order to update. They also have some profile files that they will update as well, okay, before you install. For instance, an empty server, whenever you have an empty server and you install an operating system on it, like your computer, you guys install Windows, for instance, right? For Linux, whenever you install, you have a brand new operating system, only the root user is there. Only the root user is created. So we don't have Oracle user. So what the sysadmin has to do is to create, okay, groups and users, okay? They should create group and grant permission. And once they create it, they should assign password to those users. So you guys in Brontech already have bit set up because there's a sysadmin working on your servers, on your virtual machine. So that's why you guys can easily just log in as Oracle user. But when you get to the last project, you will be doing everything yourself, even though some of these will be as a script. Okay, I will explain it again when we get to RAC. But those are stuff that should be done by the sysadmin. So you should make sure that he creates, require groups, create user. Okay, you grant you the primary group, the secondary groups. He grant you the default password. Okay, before, if you want to, you can update the password later. Okay, and he set some parameters basically. Okay, you make sure that you install these packages, and all this stuff come with the README file. So Oracle provided to you. Okay, so whenever you are downloading, okay, Oracle will give you a README file for you to do that first. And also, those are some prerequisites that should be met when it comes to kernel. Also, there are some prerequisites that also should be met when it comes to memory of swap space. Okay, some of them, maybe it's not here. Okay, on the README file, for instance, it might tell you that, for instance, for Oracle 12 installation, we need at least 1 GB of RAM, but it is recommended to have 2 GB of RAM, or at least 2 GB of RAM. So 2 GB okay, and above. That's the recommended one. So you can have 15 GB and so on. But the minimal, okay, the recommended one, okay, is 2 GB. And also that should be met. So meaning that whenever you are issuing, you have some command that help you to see the actual memory size. So you should see that the memory available is at least 2 GB, for instance. And also swap space, okay, and so on. So basically, those stuff should be done ahead of the time, okay? And you might be involved somehow, but most of the time it is done by someone else. That is why we have a sysadmin. And the network admin on his end, his side, should be the one to set up, okay, to set up network, okay, networking. That means make sure that the firewall are open, the listener port is open, because if the port is not open, you cannot get in, okay? So they should be enabling that. Also, they can also find themselves mapping, the host name with the IP address. Let me take an example. You guys, student ID. I have someone here, for instance, student number is student 100. The network admin should attach that host student 100 to a unique IP address, okay? So the IP address, if you guys pay attention, okay? Okay, let me make sure I clear this. Okay, if you guys pay, don't worry, I will clear this one again. If you guys pay attention, you guys can have your IP address, okay? When you guys, for instance, do, let me show you one of the files that we update, one of the important files. So they have to resolve this host name to then whatever with a unique IP address. So they use what we call a DNS server, domain name service, to map the host name and IP addresses. We'll be talking about domain name service and grid naming service a bit more deeper when it comes to RAC. Okay, we go a bit deeper in RAC because the concept is very important at that level. So the network admin they have their own part, okay, to be setting up firewall rules, okay, who can access to set up, this DNS stuff and so on. So each person has his own responsibility. So now you, the GBA, you have your responsibility because normally, right, you own the Oracle software. Oracle user own the Oracle software. Even though you may have some operating system access to monitor some resources, okay, like mount point, okay, like mount point like this, like maybe background processes. Those are operating system access, okay. You need this stuff sometimes as a GBA, okay, or maybe you need to see the uptime of a server. You need that sometimes to troubleshoot. Does it make sense? So it's important for you because by looking at the load of a server, you may know that, okay, maybe the server is busy. That is why we are having performance issues and so on. Maybe by looking at how long the server has been up, can tell you that, okay, maybe we have some zombie processes or some orphan processes, okay, or some orphan processes running in the server, and maybe rebooting can help. So sometimes with the GBA, you need some operating system access, not to do operating system operation like changing kernel parameters, but because that can help you to do your job as well, okay? But in some environment, whenever you are new as a GBA, you may not. Sometimes when you are new, but and ahead of the time, they will give you the access. Like I was in an environment, the first 2 months, I could not access Body. I could just go through SQL Developer. So it means that I was unable to issue like this because they have to create a user account, an operating system user account for you. And also they have to create a database account for you. So you have 2 accounts. Okay? So if you don't have an account at the OS level, you cannot access it because we don't give Oracle password to people like that. Most of the time, you will log into Poly as you are using your account. If your name is Gaetan, they will create an account for you at the OS level and give you a default password. So you access Poly as Gaetan. If now you want to switch from Gaetan to Oracle, you may now do sudo su. For instance, you may now do sudo su and Oracle like this, and you can switch. Okay, if you have the permission to switch. All right, so sometimes they have to set up all those stuff before you have access. So coming back to our installation, so sysadmin have their own part. They have to make sure that the mount point are available. So they will set up the disk. Okay, these are the file system, and these file system are mapped to a physical storage, a physical disk that is created. Okay, and in the physical disk, we can have 1 or more physical disks. And the sum of the size of those disks can be 99 gig. We talk about disk when you get to RAC, because on RAC, we will see how we create disk, how those people create disk, okay? So once they do this, they set up everything that's available for you, the mount point, the memory, the swap space, is it met? The kernel parameters, is it met? The network files, is it met? All those stuff. Whenever everything is all right, okay, now you can come and try to validate what they did, okay? On 11G, you guys never ran this one, okay? You guys ran yum install Oracle validated. I think it stopped yum install Oracle validated, okay? That is 11G. On 12C, we run this package, yum install Oracle RDBMS server, whatever. But normally this is what should be run, okay? But it has to be installed, this package. So like you saw here, you saw these packages should, okay? That means they should come. So that package should be installed. So it should be available depending on, the operating system version you have. So for us now, we don't have this package available. At work, you may need to run this package. Okay. But it's not an issue. That's why you can still run the YOMO install Oracle validated, the one you run on GB1. We will do that today. But if you are dealing with 12c, this package should be run. Okay. Anyways, you will have the prerequisite available once you download the file. So why are you running this one? You are running it so that it can validate if everything, whatever was done by the sysadmin or network admin or storage admin, whoever worked on a server to set up the environment for you, if everything is set up properly. So you go ahead and validate all the packages, all the RPM packages, all the kernel parameters. Okay. So once you validate it, if there's something wrong, it will return an error to you to fix it. If everything is okay, you will see the result. It will say that nothing to do. But if there's something to do, it will throw an error, it will throw something. And you have two options. If you can fix the error right away, the error is related to kernel parameters, you may not have the root access in the environment. If you do have a pseudo root access, you may go ahead and change it. But it should be coordinated. Somebody should be watching you. Somebody should know that you are doing it. Okay? Because you don't own the operating system. The sysadmin owns the operating system. So, or you may ping, or you may contact the sysadmin, maybe take a screenshot of the error you received, or what has to be changed, and a change request can be raised, and you can go ahead and update the parameter, okay, and change it to the right value, okay, because it's spelling. And or sometimes for other people, okay, you may not fix that right away. You can leave it like that, and once you are installing the Oracle software, at the end, once you launch the graphical user interface, at the end, there's an area called prerequisite. We get there. At the level of prerequisite, is it prerequisite check? Prerequisite check. At that level of check, if there's something wrong, it will tell you that, oh, you have to fix it before you move forward. And most of the time, Oracle will provide you a script to fix it. Okay? So you just take that script and run. So sometimes, some people usually do that. Myself, I did that sometime when it comes to rack 18C installation. You try to run a YOM install, it gives you some errors, but you move forward, you move on. And once you get to the Oracle installation, at the end, Oracle will give you a script. You will fill the prerequisite check. And when you will fail, Oracle will give you a script. You go ahead and fix it. And you just have to take that script, connect as sudo root user, and run the script, and it will fix the error for you, and you can install the software. So that is the usage of the YOM install, to check if everything is fine, it's okay. So if your YOM install fails, if you can fix it, you fix it. If you cannot, move forward, and I will tell you where, okay, Oracle can give you a fix. So that was basically an introduction of how it works. So unless you are installing your own virtual machine on your laptop, most of the time in environment, if it's okay, everything, you are not working on it alone. You are not working on a brand new server alone, okay? A lot of people are involved, or you are working together, okay? So your job is basically, again, as I said, validate whatever was done and make sure that you install, okay, the software that it should be, okay. Now, you guys actually in the morning class, I also want to update you guys on evening. You guys need to update Mr. Brendan Prof that you guys need a new page, a page project. Okay, I think Ms. Renata, one person can just ask it. Just tell Prof that please, Mr. Gaeta asked to add a new page. Okay, I ping him, but you guys can also do the same, just to speed up because by next week, Friday, we'll be starting the first project. And it'd be good if you guys have this access already. Okay. Now, that is what I explained when it comes to prerequisite. Okay. Make sure that remove everything that I created. Okay. So basically, what happened is I provided you guys. Let me get out of this body. Yeah. I want to do that from fetch. From Poly, some of you may decide to install using VNC. Some of you may decide to use Poly. Some of you, I saw some of you in the morning as well as evening. People were using mobile extend and so on. It's also possible to use Poly to install, but you need a tool called, one of the tools, okay? And with Xmin, you can get Xmin online. With Xmin, it can help you to have graphical user interface, okay? And once you install Xmin, you can come here, SSH, you go to X11, you make sure you enable Xmin. If you don't enable Xmin, you will never have a graphical user interface. Okay, so that is just for those who would like to install Xmin. If you don't, it's fine. You can still use VNC. It's totally okay. So let me change the setting. Okay, I just want to make it a bit bigger, that's more visible. All right. So again, as I said, somebody already set up everything for you guys, okay? So that's why you can log in as Oracle, because somebody worked on your server already, sysadmin job is done, all the network ports, all the listener ports are open, okay? The protocol is already set, TCP, all this stuff. So you have all the accesses. So that's why it's already prepared for you. Okay? So I provided you guys a script. I provided you guys document, okay? A document, and one of the document is the installation, okay? I want to use the task to you guys, and you can see a document here, assignment. So today we do installation. So by Wednesday, everybody should have installed 12C. That should not be an excuse because I will give you time to ask questions. And the assignment, the first question is even the installation. So if you cannot install, you cannot do anything else. So if you have any doubt today, if that I can clarify, yes, go ahead. On your documentation, it's written like this. I think it's written like this, MCON. Please, it's the same thing as EMPCON. So you can update it to P, please, okay? Someone reminded me that in the morning class. So I will be showing you this one, and I'll also be showing you this. Some of these questions are found on the, like convert or connect or whatever. Some of them I found here, okay? So, okay. So,
Gautam, you're breaking time to time.
I'm breaking? Sometimes I stop talking, okay? Okay. If I'm breaking, please remind me again, please. If you cannot hear me, please let me know. Okay. Okay. So this is the installation, okay, that document we'll be using. And again, remember I told you guys last week that I want everybody to be involved. So after today's session, Wednesday, I may choose a group for next week to do all this right in front of us. So do the assignment. I will pick a group. I will do this. I'll show you how to do this. And you have a document on how to do one of the most difficult one, which is this one. And because I want us to, to stay active or to play around with this, I will pick a group by Wednesday, okay? And the group will do, they will not install in front of us because the installation takes more time. I will assume that they are installed already, and all this will be done live. So that it's like just an assignment, okay? Everybody can just see what's going on. And if I have something to add, I will add. And maybe if it's Wednesday or if it's Monday or Wednesday, I don't know, one of those days, I will also take some time to navigate and explain to you guys some of the features on 12C. Okay, that will be done for every project. I will create assignments for every project so that, you know, we can have practicals for every, I think that we also have assignment. I think we have assignment. So that's what I'll be doing. Okay, I want everybody to be involved on this.
Please, I have a question.
Yes.
So on the assignment, so how do you advise us to do that? Do you advise us to do it as a group? What we're doing as a group, one person should do it, and then the person that is going to present should not do the assignment?
Now, as a group, if you guys can do both as a group or individually, it's good, right? So how do we work sometime? Okay. How do we work sometime is sometime in a group, if I give you a project, that is how you guys should be doing way forward or moving forward. Any project I will be giving you guys, will be assigned to, you should do that as a group first so that all the group members understand the project. That's the first thing you should be doing. So once you do it as a group, now individually, you can go ahead and do that because you understood what you guys did as a group at the group level. That's one of the best ways to understand. Maybe you guys will have another strategy, but that is how I recommend people to work as a group. Now, when it comes to presentation, you guys can allocate tasks. It means what? It means that you guys, since everybody has done it already, okay, one of you can delete everything and make sure he or she install only the 12C software. And now the first person come and do this. The second person, the third person, the fourth, and so on, okay? If the group has smaller number of people, then you guys will know how to play around with that. So I just want the entire group to be involved, not one person. Because in the past, I noticed, okay, I observed that whenever sometimes we have some people who are really active, some people will stay behind. Because those people who are active will always say, Poof, I want to do that. I like it, it's very good, but you know, sometimes I like us to move as a class. So I want multiple people to be involved. That's why I want to go at the group level, so that this group knows that I will be the one to complete the assignment of data guide. Golden Gate, our group, we present Golden Gate, practicals and a little bit of theory, if you want to, and so on. Okay, I want everybody to be involved. So not one person, I don't want one person to do this. Multiple people can do that, okay? That's what I want you guys to do. And it makes sense. Yes,
it does. It's just that some of these questions follow each other, so.
Yeah, I know. If they follow each other, you guys as a group, that's why I say it's not mandatory for the entire group to present. Those who are willing to do that, because I know some people are shy or they don't want to, I don't know, but I will recommend you guys to, okay, involve maximum amount of people. If question 2, 3 relies on 2, and you guys have done it as a group. So if the person who completed 2, the next person can come and proceed with 3 because you guys have done it together, both 2 and 3. So the next person will know that, oh, where my classmate just stopped or my group member just stopped, I can just pick from there because you have done it as a group, not individually. So you guys have a common script. That's what I can say. Common script, common document. You guys do it as a group. That is what made a group being consistent because you guys don't have different things among yourselves. So I don't think it can be an issue if you guys work together. And it makes sense. You can back up each other. If one of your group members is stuck, other people are here. It's your group that's presenting. You say, oh, you made a mistake here. Or even other classmates, you made a mistake here. And you proceed. Okay? So that should be done next Monday. So Wednesday, this one should be done. And by next Monday, everything should be completed. Because Wednesday, I will do this. I will show you how to do this. Okay? And you have this one documented. So by Monday, that group should present so that by Wednesday, the entire class has done it. And Friday, we start the next project. Yeah. So I will use one of the documentation I sent to you guys. First thing, you guys have this, everybody, I sent it. And I think by this weekend, I will send all the documentation for data guide as well. So, because we are starting with the installation, okay? So,
I have a question, please.
yes, sir, please.
So basically, we're done with my performance tuning, right?
Yes, for now, yeah.
Okay, because I haven't seen a case where like we've solved a real issue concerning it. So I thought.
You did what? Your case what?
I haven't seen a case where we solved a real issue because one of my databases need tuning.
Which database need tuning?
Actually, one of my class database, the one I used for my exam.
Why are you saying you need tuning?
The way it's performing, like it's showing critical errors and stuff.
Critical error or internal errors?
It shows when I access it through Enterprise Manager, it gives me and I go to alert, it shows I have some critical errors. Some critical alert.
Critical errors alert or ORA? ORA, right?
Yes, perhaps. And it also shows that the metrics, it was talking about metrics, that the metrics, the status of the metrics is unavailable, something like that.
Okay, so maybe you did not understand the concept of performance tuning. Performance tuning is not fixing errors. When something has to be tuned, it's not an error. It doesn't mean that you deleted the backup is performance tuning. Performance tuning means that something that was running well before, now for any reason is slowing down or some transaction are slowing down, the performance reduced. That is something that has to be tuned. That means it's still working. It's still working as, okay, it's still working, it's still up and running, but it's a bit slower. That's what needs what we call tuning. So if somebody deleted an archive lock, it's not performance tuning. That is a human error. So you go and fix human error. It can be a system error, maybe block corruption or something. That is not performance tuning because that is a failure, system failure or human error. It's totally different from performance tuning. Performance tuning means you enhance something. By changing a parameter or by changing a value of something, you enhance the performance. So something that was running slow before is now running faster. That is tuning, performance tuning. That's the purpose of performance tuning. And I told you guys that performance tuning, you will master performance tuning. Nobody, I cannot even say master. You understand better performance tuning using what we call scenarios. And for now, I just wanted to introduce some concept of performance tuning. When we get to what we call summaries, I will take the same thing we learned, summaries. Now I try to put them together and tell you, I bring them together, okay, as what we call reality. So I will say, for instance, okay, if somebody come with a query, running slow, okay, what are the possible reasons it can be slow? I can go ahead and check maybe the PGA, because I know that you guys already know the PGA. I can go ahead and check blocking sessions because I know you guys already know how to check blocking sessions. I can go ahead and check if the FRA is full. Because you guys know how to check it. I can go ahead and generate an ASH because you guys know how to generate it. I can go ahead and check wait event on AWR because you guys know how to generate AWR. So if I want to bring all of that, all that concept at once, you get confused. So that's why the first step of performance tuning was just to show you how to create an AWR report, what's the user of the PGA, how to generate an ASH, how to generate an explain plan, what is the SQL profile, what is the SQL baseline. When you get those concepts, The next assignment for you guys was to create a scenario. I think I gave you an assignment for 2 months, 1 month assignment. I think 1 month assignment. So you guys now sit either as a group or individually and start thinking about, okay, what can cause performance? What can cause a query to run slower? What can cause slowness when it comes to SQL statement or database? And try to draw something. Now, when you go to summaries, there's some stuff I will tell you that will help you to build the scenario a scenario for the interview room. I will give you some hints, some information. Now you no longer teach performance tuning again. I now go straight to the point, what you need to build a good scenario. And some people will start. A lot of people always do that. And after me, now, because there is somebody after me who takes you guys over on the weekend, okay? He has a non-government environment, because I told you guys, I'm not displaying my environment because it's a government environment. I cannot just display any government data. It's again the compliance. So he doesn't work for a government company, and he displays the environment and he shows you, okay, all those stuff live. So he can also help you guys, okay, to see some of those stuff, okay? It can help you, but it will just help you to understand better, okay? Maybe with the graphical, with OEM 13C, some of the metrics you may understand better, okay? Once you see how it's doing. But I will still come back on performance tuning when it comes to summary, but that one now is just to, okay, go straight to scenarios. Okay, so don't expect me, okay, to do what? To show my a ticket that I receive in my environment and show you guys how I'm resolving it. Again, because I cannot show you guys that. I will show you guys a test environment that we may have. That is just for when I will be doing environment stuff. There are some things I will show you guys, but there are some things I cannot show you. And that's why I'm telling you guys, most of the time, the environment, I will not show you the environment. I will, but when I'll be teaching, I try to make it a bit more realistic. So I bring up how it works in an environment in my teachings, not just you know, pure theory or like somebody who's coming straight from school, but based on what I've done, based on my experience. So that's what I can provide, okay? But don't expect me to open my environment, take a ticket on performance tuning, and open a government environment and work it in front of you. I cannot do that, okay? So, yeah.
Please, I have another question.
Yeah.
I heard you mention weekends, so are our class hours gonna change again?
No, I think normally if I advise you guys to have a call with Mr. Brendan, okay? As a former student like you guys, I understand completely why, because me, we even have classes on site. It was not even on Zoom. Like you can even be in the metro. I mean, in my class, like some of you. It was really difficult. And when you pass DB2, things start changing. The project I'm doing with you guys, we are having project on Saturdays. Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays. Okay. We're not, okay, but we had the chance to raise our concern to Mr. Brendan. What happened is what? What happened is those who are taking you guys on project or anywhere else are also working. Otherwise, that won't be useful to take somebody who's not working to teach you guys. You might not have that much because you might not see a big difference between the person and you. You can go out yourself and Google it, you find it. But those one people are working. And depending on their schedule, you guys can imagine the shift now in USA most of the time is 9 to 5. 9 to 5. So it can be difficult for them to find some time on during the week. I'm even really trying to adjust because sometimes I found myself working 24/7. That is what I do. Sometimes when I leave you guys at 8, I work till 6 a.m. or 7 because that's what we call on-call rotation. It can happen to you as well. So that is why you may have a class. That person is in a very busy environment and it's available only on Saturdays. It's after me. So his class is not recorded. You cannot record. The only reason is because it's also an environment. So he cannot show his company, you record. No, you can display it somewhere. Okay? This information can be seen somewhere. And if we know that he's the one who displayed it, he can get fired because he wanted to help us. It has always been like that. At some point in Brontech, you have class on Saturdays. It has always been like that since Brontech was created. That's why I want you guys, please, if you have any concern, please, teachers can just try their best. I can just try my best. Instead of saying I will not teach at all, I'll just try to adjust so that I can teach. Because I want to fill the gap. I don't want, you guys to say, oh, morning I'm teaching morning, but evening doesn't have class. Okay, so if you are not happy or any concern, please let Mr. Brendan know. Maybe by raising the concern as a class, we can see, maybe you will say, okay, I don't know, some people will record the first session, the first hour, and other can watch the first hour later and so on. But that is how it could be after me. After me, the Saturday is the only day the guy is available. And it's optional. That one is optional. That one is optional because that one, okay, he does it because he just wants to help Brontech. He has been a student he has been from Brontech. And he's very, very good. He's a perfect guy when it comes to a lot of stuff. Myself, I sometimes attended his classes. So it's just for you guys to clarify some stuff on Arman you learn. You have done Arman. Your Arman you have done was just school Arman in an environment. Okay, how? How does it work there? So yes, it's not mandatory, but it's just for your good. So if you are planning, you can start planning for that. It's 1 month or 2 months from now. 1 month or 2 months from now. It's just Saturday and you can watch it anywhere, but the session will never be recorded. Never. So that is how it is. And sorry if you guys were not prepared for that. But even myself, I was not prepared for that. But it's just for your good. It's not for any other reason. Just for your good. We want you guys to have enough resources before you get to an interview room. Any question? All right. Okay. So let's proceed. So I made mention of the ETC host. That is where the network, okay, your host name and IP should be resolved and updated by the sysadmin. For you, it's already updated like this. I made mention of Yum install for the 12C. I told you guys that we don't have it installed in Brontech. That's why you will see here that the package is not available. But this package will also come. So that's why you guys can run this default one. It's totally fine. You run it as what? As a root user. Okay. Because let me see this. As a root user, if there's something wrong, it will tell you. Okay? Okay, it just tell you the latest. Everything is fine. Okay. For those of you, if for you it fails, you can wait, and I will tell you where you can fix it. If you can fix it right away, you do it. You have the root access with root privilege. If you see that they put a parameter value, whatever, you can go ahead and change it. Okay. You can just take that error, put on Google. Google will tell you exactly where to update that file. It's very easy. But if you don't understand what it means, please don't worry about it. I will show you where Oracle will give you a script and you can fix that automatically yourself. But in environment, we are very careful. Sometimes because of a warning, if you have a warning, we don't move forward till that warning is resolved. So you may need to contact Oracle support if you don't. Okay. I will access Oracle support here because I can access my Oracle support account here to show you some stuff when it comes to project. You may need to contact the support, okay, for assistance if you guys cannot fix it, okay. But normally you should be able to fix it with the sysadmin. So you run the package, okay. You check the prerequisite, check whatever the sysadmin has done, everything that was done before you validate that. Okay. Now the next thing is to create directories for the Oracle Home. What happens is any application you are installing, right, has a location where it stores the binaries. Anything you have, even the website you install, any application Facebook you install, there's a location where it stores binaries. For it to function, there should be a place where, okay, binaries are stored, all the code, all the tools are stored, all the drivers, all the stuff, the location. And that is what you guys have to create. You should create a directory first. And what happened is, why do I put on Oradata? Please, it's not mandatory, but I put on Oradata for space. That's the only reason behind. At work, they may give you, you might get to an environment and they tell you exactly where you are to. They leave you install wherever you want to. Just make sure that when you install, you document it, upload it in your SharePoint, or the common location where you guys store your files in the company. Right? Those are the two options. So this part, I chose it myself. I decided to put on Oradata because Oradata has more space than usual one. Because if I put, you guys already have 11G, I think most of you have 11G already under U01. If I come again and put 12C under U01, it may fill up. For instance, here I have 6.3 used. If I come and add another 6.4, it can go above, can go around 13 gig. So very soon I will be having, at any time I will start having space issues. So the reason why I put /Oradata first is because Oradata has more space. So I can install my 12C under Oradata. That's the only reason. And the path here might not be the same again everywhere else. I saw some people, they go to their environment and then they are looking for the same exact user one app Oracle product 11.2.0_1. It might not be the same. It might not be the same. Okay? So you should know how to find the Oracle Home. I'll show you how to find the Oracle Home easily. You should know that. Okay? You just cut the OR tab. It will tell you that. It will tell you the path of Oracle Home. That's very easy. Okay? So if you don't know the OR tab, you can grep the ORA or you can type the batch profile. So that's why I created here. And the naming doesn't matter. Somebody will come and say 12.1.0 and stop here. Okay, so don't worry about this one. Yeah. I can put whatever name you want, but I put 2. I did not say that it's 2. Okay, because the software version we are installing is 12.1.0.2. So I need to create binaries directory. Now, somebody has to own. Oracle user is the owner of the Oracle software. Remember, I told you guys that the sysadmin has to create the Oracle user and the OInstall group. The OInstall group is the group of those who are installing, the software. And any user has, every user you are connected to, this is root. That's not Oracle. Okay, if you connect as Oracle user, you issue ID, you will see the primary group and all the group assigned to Oracle. So you are using this command because you are changing the ownership. You are giving the ownership to Oracle user who belong to OInstall group to any directory that is under user 1. That is under Oradata user 1. So it means that everything that's under all these directory, all these subdirectories under user 1 will be owned by Oracle user. So you want Oracle to own the software. You don't want root to own the software. The sysadmin job is not to own the Oracle software. Okay? So you issue this. And once you issue that, see what happens. We now see that everything that's under user 1 is owned by Oracle and go install. That's what you want. You want Oracle to own the application. These steps are not mandatory, but it's good. Why? Because this one is for the binaries. But this one is for data files, because any database, you install the software, but the data files can be stored somewhere else in another mount point, like Oradata. Or you guys put in Oradata, someone else may put it somewhere else. So you also need to create a directory for to give the permission, on Oradata, So when you do this, you also have to give the permission, for the Oracle user to execute on this. So normally it should go like this. You can also put like this, it's fine. You can also put like this, it is fine, So you just want to give the permission to the user to anything that is under Oradata. And you want to give executable permission. So it means that the root user have read, write, execute, the group read, write, execute, and any other user read, execute. So you are just giving the permission to people to execute, to make all the files under Oradata executable. That's what in the mode. So you can do this.
I have a concern. Hello. You kind of okay. I said I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
You're creating it in root in the root environment. Does it mean Oracle, like if I connect as Oracle, I won't see the directory?
You will see because Oracle owns them now.
Okay.
Even though you created as root, but Oracle owns, because Oracle cannot issue shown. Oracle cannot issue. So root, even though it's root who created them, but you are giving the ownership to someone else on those directory.
Okay, thanks.
So Oracle owns. That means Oracle can view anything that's under APP. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No problem. So this one is for data files. Let's assume that the directory that it was not Oradata, it was 001. You need to also to give Oracle the permission on all the data files. So my data file are under Oradata. That's why I also give the ownership, even though it's already done here. So I just want you guys to know why it's here. And I also change this permission in an environment most of the time. You can put 776 or 775. Please make sure you are following the run book. So this one is quite easy because you just give him permission. Now, that is all root user has to do. Okay. Now the remaining step has to be done as Oracle user. What you have to do is to exit from here. So now you have to do what you call create a batch profile. You guys have two options with the batch profile. You may decide to create a batch profile for every single software. That means 10G has its own software with own batch profile, 11G has its own batch profile, 12C has its own batch profile. If you want to go to the 10G environment, you just have to source the batch profile of 10G. If you want to go to 11G, you just have to source the batch profile of 11G. And if you want to get to 12C or 18C, you will just have to source the batch profile of 12C. Okay, so it means that it may look like this. So moving forward, you guys may have, for instance, multiple batch profile, and it may look like this. So you guys see now that you no longer have maybe just this one, but you may have batch profile for other environments. Okay, so you guys may decide to work that way. So having multiple batch profile for different environment, and a lot of companies use that follow this procedure. Some people may decide to have a common batch profile, alternative batch profile for all the environment. So this alternative batch profile, for instance, okay, you can connect to any environment just from the alternative batch profile. It's not in the scope of this, but you can see, for instance, that the alternative batch profile, you may decide to go to 10G if you want. If you have 11G, you can put 11G, you can put 12C, and so on. So you just need one batch profile. And just from that batch profile, you can access all environment. Okay, you don't need to create multiple batch profile like this. So just in one batch profile, you put all the environments. Okay, and if you want to connect to one environment, it's very easy. So I know that it's not clear. Let me make sure that you guys can see. Okay, so if somebody, for instance, wants to, any batch profile, okay, you just put dot space and you connect, right? So I gave you guys the content of the batch profile here. And even if you go to the Oracle documentations, you will see that it's also found everywhere, okay? So it's not something hidden. So you are just the one who should customize it yourself. And there's not that much to do on it. So you have options. You guys have a batch profiles in your server. So you can just make a copy of this batch profile and okay, your 12C batch profile. Okay, this one doesn't have anything. Let me take a batch profile that contains something. If you don't have anything, you go and get it from Google, you copy this one, you just customize it. You have it, it's already good. You can just copy, duplicate it, and update. So meaning I have a batch profile already on my server. I can just make a copy of this batch profile, and I create a 12C batch profile with that. Especially the CP, you guys know the CP command. So if you guys now see my 12C batch profile here, but it has to update it because even though it shows 12C here, the content is still the same as this one. I just made a copy, I just duplicated. So now I have to update the batch profile so that it can point to 12C. Okay, you guys know how to do the VI. And there is not that much to do here, okay? Some key metrics have to be changed. You should make sure that the host name is set properly, okay? In set mode. When it comes to GB unique name, this one doesn't matter, but you can point it to 12C. The name is just in case on a server, you have maybe just one database. That is why it's important. Because you don't need to set the environment, okay? You can just connect to that only database. You just need to set it from the batch profile. Since our servers have multiple databases, this one doesn't matter. This one also is important, Oracle based. Pay attention. Oracle home is Oracle based / product, whatever. You guys learned that whenever you had the GB1 exam. I don't know if it was still the same thing, But sometimes at the end of the GP1 exam, Prof usually gave us some bonus question where we had to specify the part of Oracle Base, the part of Oracle Home, the part of a lot of things. Okay, I think you guys learned that as well. I think so. Correct? You did it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
So you're kind of breaking. Your network is horrible.
Breaking.
I'm breaking a lot.
Your network is horrible.
Let me see. No one ever complained about this network. What's wrong? Can everybody validate? Am I breaking too much? You guys cannot hear me?
I'm not hearing you.
You're
breaking.
not breaking.
Not
From
breaking.
time to
Not
time.
bad.
You're breaking from time to time.
You're breaking from time to time.
Maybe today the network bandwidth that I'm using. I switch from the other one.
It's mobile money.
Let's see. This was a boot the machine. Okay. Okay, so I was saying that the Oracle base, my Oracle base here is Oradata. Okay. Simply because the Oracle Home is the Oracle base and added by the other stuff. So instead of using 180 Oracle, it is Oradata. Yeah. So, but my Oracle Home is Oracle base product, and this one has to be changed now because remember the directory I created. Yeah. 12.1.0.2 based on what I created here physically, right? 12.1.0.2. Make sure the same is here. And this one, GB11G, this is what you have whenever you issue .space order env. So you may also decide to put it here. Okay, it's fine. Other location, just make sure it's properly set like the path. That doesn't matter because this part is just what helps you to be able to call any tool from anywhere. That is why you guys can call DBC from any directory. That's why you guys can call SQL Plus from any directory because the path is already set. Okay, whenever you set the batch profile, the path is already set. Okay, I think that's the only thing you have to update. The home, the base, and the host name. Make sure you save it. Whenever you save it, to validate and set to the environment and env prep. Now to validate whether the home is okay, the host name is okay, the base is okay, because those are the critical information.
Okay, please, I have a question. Hello.
Right.
On your Oracle Home, right? Is there a difference between you see your own is 12.1.0.2? Is there any difference?
I just explained that it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You may put 12.1.0. That's just a directory, okay?
Oh, okay, okay.
I put 12.1.0.2. You can put 12.1.0. That's it. Someone else can put anything you want. It's still fine.
Okay.
But make sure that whatever you created physically is also in the batch profile. The same part is also in the batch profile. That's what all you need to do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the batch profile is good, And that's it. I think apart from that, you just need to go to your download directory, go the path. VNC, can do this on VNC, okay? So under the download directory, all the software installed here. You don't need to go anywhere else to get the software. So since you download, Oracle 12c should be here. Okay. you do this one.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You said we can do that on PuTTY, right? But I think I had someone were trying to do it and we encountered some issues on PuTTY, so I don't know.
What type of issue?
Like doing the installation at the end to install, it wasn't going through.
Yes, if you don't have a tool called Xming, you cannot do that. That's why I say you guys can do it on VNC. If you do not have a tool called Xming, it will not work.
So that's an extra tool like we have to install if we have to.
It's not mandatory, okay? I just want to see.
I know, I'm just asking like.
Okay, it's even fair here, okay? I did not enable it. Let me see. In setting. I forgot to enable it before I launched this session. You just need to update, or I should have done it before I launch this. Okay. Like this, for instance. Let's take for instance like this. I should have done like this. Enable it first. Let me make sure it's running even, because it should be running as well. Okay. If the tool runs, not running, you should be running. Let me try again here. I think I enabled it for this one. Yeah. So, if you want to do on PuTTY, you need to install a third-party tool, okay? Called Xming. But you can do it on VNC, okay? It's not an issue. So, let me see again if that can display. If not, I will open. You can open another terminal and do that. You see, now it passed. Now I can have a graphical user interface here. But without the Xming, you cannot. So please, the same procedure I follow here can be done on VNC. The same exact procedure. Okay?
Mr. Gaitan, please, before you continue.
Yes. Yes.
Please, could you scroll down? I saw something like when you try to install, yeah, where it says somewhere about colors, the colors must be something.
Yes, the color is because it's not able to call the graphical user interface. It can fail with color for multiple reasons. Maybe the batch profile is not properly set. That is one of the first reasons. If somebody tries to do that from VNC and it displays this color thing, please check your batch profile. But if you are not doing it from VNC, you are doing anywhere else, make sure you have graphical user interfaces there. Because it fell here because my Xming was not running yet. Okay. Oh, I see that here. My Xming was not running. So that's why it showed that. So I activated the Xming for it to run. What is that? Okay. Yeah. So please don't get confused. It's not mandatory to install Xming. Okay. You can go to VNC and follow the same procedure, the same step. This is the graphical user interface here. This is how it will look like. Even on VNC, this is how it will look like. And you just have to follow the steps, okay? It's taking time because we are using a two-tier connection actually. We are not on VNC, so that's why it's loading. So it will look like this, okay? And prerequisites should be met. You can see here that the temp space should be, okay, should be, if you don't have enough space on the temp directory, you guys just cd to /temp. /temp directory, you can, if you see something that you don't need there, you clear, okay? The swap space will be at least this one, okay? You guys know how to check the swap space, okay? So, so once everything is passed like this, you'll have the next, this page will be displayed. Uncheck this one because if you check, it's because you have an Oracle support account, and it's helpful whenever Oracle has to release some patches for you. Let's assume Oracle say, okay, there's a new patch that's released. You may need to apply it. Okay, you want to, it's not mandatory. This email, they will get it from you. You can get it, this update from this one. And you can go from Oracle support account website and get update from there. Even to download a patch or download an update, you need to have this account. So since you guys done, we uncheck. Move to next. Yeah. It's always time to open it somewhere else. I don't know why. Time to go to my. Okay, you say you wish to continue. You have not provided your email. Yes, it's fine. Let me mute everybody. Okay. So you know why it's slow? Because I'm using a third-party tool. I'm connected, I'm doing 2 chair. Let me just use 1 chair connection. Let me just go straight. Lower here. So it can be more faster from VNC. But it's possible.
So it happens I don't have the directory download on my Oracle Home.
It should not be on Oracle Home.
It's not?
/download. Do you see this /download?
Oh.
Don't issue CD download. I said CD /download.
Okay.
It's different. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
This one is hanging. It's very slow. So I will cancel this one, okay? And I will go to VNC. Are you asking CD /download? Okay. If you CD /download, you will have something. Don't just issue CD download. No space. Okay. CD now. Oracle Trustee, Oracle database. I think the path, this is the path you guys should follow. Basically, I want to kill this session. It's very slow here. And I know because, again, I'm going outside of VNC. It should be slow like this normally. But if you are inside, it can be faster. Yeah. Okay, so so from here, you can also, it's not dot slash. Also display. I just cancel this. So very slow. I don't want it. So if we come from here, the same thing. Okay. We display here. me see this guy. Once you cancel, once you stop the other one. So we said that we uncheck this because we have an Oracle support account. Go to next. Okay. Yes. Okay. You bring us to the next page. You see that this one is even faster than the other one. So you want to install the software only. If you should install and create a configured database, the type of database you will create here will be an Oracle managed database. And the naming convention will look very different from what you guys know. Okay, I don't want to, so it's recommended to just to install the software, okay? Just to install the software. So install the software only.
Excuse me, what about why it says upgrade database?
Okay, upgrade an existing database, it means that you have the 12c software and you have a database that's, for instance, on 11G and you want to upgrade it directly on 12c. Okay, if you click on this, for instance, you go to next, okay, it will just tell you, it will just give you some information what is to be, about what is to be upgraded somewhere here. So, but there is no database on 12c. If I had a database on 12c, okay, it will just tell me that, okay, I can upgrade a database because 12c is not installed yet. If this 12c was already installed and I had a database on 11G, I can upgrade it straight from here. Okay, so that is what it means. So, but here we are still installing, we are not upgrading.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so this one is single instance rack. Single instance is one instance, one database. You guys, that's what we are using. Okay, but rack is multiple instances, one database. Also rack one node, more than one instance, one database. I will explain the difference between these two when we get to rack, the last project. So since we are using single instance now, we choose this one. With your language, English. We have only one option, Enterprise Edition. You can see Enterprise Edition, whatever you see here, each come with features. You can go through each of these, but you have only one option to choose here. Make sure the home is properly set. Okay, the base was what? So you can browse. You get to the base. The base was Oradata, user one, APP, Oracle. That's it. That was the base. And I select. The home was what? Please don't always trust in what you see here. So browse, make sure it's the same as the one you created. Okay. You put on batch profile. So our data, user one, APP, Oracle, product. This is the one we created. Select. So you have the right base, the right home, as it is on the batch profile or created physically. So you go to next. This one is just operating system user, and it doesn't matter which directory you put here. It can be GBA, it can be all installed. Okay, but most of the time we put GBA for everything here. Doesn't matter. And this is what I was saying. If you could not fix some kernels, some prerequisite check, sometimes you can have a warning from here. Okay, so you see you pass this one, pass the prerequisite check. But if there was something wrong on your end, okay, this one will stop. It will give you what you have to fix before you move forward. So this is what I was saying. So sometimes the YUM install, if it displays something you cannot fix. Give me 1 second. I don't know who is contacting. Okay. So if it says there is something that has to be fixed from the prerequisite check, okay, you will get Oracle will tell you what has to be fixed. And sometimes Oracle will give you a script that you just need to run, okay, for it to be resolved. That's how it works sometimes. So Here we passed the prerequisite check, so we're good. So it just tell you now the available disk space we need 6.4, and we already have some where we are downloading from. This is when you run, this is where you go and get the packages to run. Edition, the base. If you want to update maybe a mistake, you can change from here, the home and the operating system group. Here we have what we call a response file. Most of the time you can save a response file to automate the installation in other servers. Because I'm not sure everybody will be willing to install like this if you have 10 servers to go one by one like this. So the response file is what can help you to automate because the response file stores all this procedure, all the structure of whatever we have done, all the metadata of whatever we have done will be stored in the response file. So once you save it, now you can just use that response file to install the software in silent mode on other server without having to display a graphical user interface like this. So this is something important in an environment where they keep. For you guys, you may not use it, but whenever you have to deal with multiple servers, you have to install on multiple servers, the response file is very important. So, and that's it. You just click on install, and the installation is launched. And once you install, you can keep track of everything from here. Okay, you will see the progress here. For someone else who doesn't have time to stay here and look, I want to show you guys how we monitor. Someone else, okay, see, the installation also goes in whenever you guys launch Run Installer. You guys see where it also goes temp, because this is where it is running. It might be running, okay, but this one was for the old one. So we might need to ls the temp location, because that is why the temp directory was needed. That's why we needed some space on the temp directory for these operations. So let me assume that I put ls temp and I specify Aura, any Aura. This is where you can see all the software that were installed. All the Oracle software that were installed. Sometimes they are on the temp directory. Let me organize it such a way that it is easier to read. So, why is this like this? I should have put only, okay. I don't even know why I display everything. I put, what do I put? ls/tmp. Okay, anyway, this is what I'm looking for. So we can see here is 18. Which one are we launching now? Okay, let me see. Let me see this. I will tell you why I'm doing this. Why was it saying it exists? Okay, let me try this one. Okay, let me see. Okay. But here is 0. 0. I should see that this is one location where you can see that, but I can also go to the other location. Okay. The other location is the Aura inventory. You guys should know where. If you don't know where your Aura inventory is, you can /etc/Aura ins. I think it's like this. .lock. I'm just trying to remember the exact syntax. I think it was Aura ins I cap Good. So just issue this command, etc ora inst, to locate the ora inventory in your server. So you cd to the ora inventory. The ora inventory is basically where you have the inventory of all the software. Whatever happened, okay, for Oracle is in the ora inventory. So you can see the logs here. CD logs. Okay, I can see all the logs under Ora inventory. You can see that all the software are also present here. Let me list only the software. Let me list only the Ora, the installation. Everything that's installed will be Ora inst. Okay, so let me put the right one. Okay, and okay, these are all of them. You should pay attention to the lock. The lock. All right, let me see that. Install action, Ora install out. Let me see this. Okay, which one do I just launched? What time was it? Ora install. Okay, which one is non-empty? This one, right? So this is the output. If there's an error, it should come here. So this is the one we are, okay? Because it's progressing in size. The size is non-zero. This one, you can see the same thing is here because I cancel it somewhere, okay? The one I cancel, that's why it's 0. But this one now is actually running. That's why it's 124 bit. If you list again, you will see that the size, has changed. Okay, let me put out. You can see now that instead of, okay, it's taking its time. But if you want to keep track of it live, running, okay, for some people, they may tell it and see how it is running live, okay, without, you can just keep it and monitor if you want to, okay, and because this is where everything will go on this output file, so you can even come later on and monitor from the output file. So, and that is how you can also keep track of the session, or you on VNC, you keep track of that, or you can tell, okay, it's sending us here. So the lock is here. So you can tell this lock minus F. F. And you can see that running right from here. Okay. Whenever you'll be seeing the screen moving and so on. Okay. So to help you keep track of anything that is happening. And it's temporarily done, okay, because later on there's a script that you have to run to complete the installation. Okay. So you can keep track, some people can keep track from here and so on. Okay, any question from this installation? So far it's done. Any question? Okay. For anyone willing to deinstall a software while this one is running, okay, let's take a break, okay? Now, we'll take a break at 7, so that when you come back, you just for the concept. Once this one is completed, that's it. Once this one is completed, say root.sh script that you have to run. Okay, and yeah, so this is why you can also keep track of something that's running. If you want to exit, you just Control C. Okay, and that's it. Now, some of you may fail with the installation, and I want you guys to also know that sometimes some of you will launch the installation. I've seen a lot of people doing that. They install like this, but for them, they think that when we talk about deinstalling, it's just to go under Oracle Home and delete everything. That is not how it works. Okay, because if you just do that, the inventory is not updated. Okay, so that's why the OR inventory is also very critical. So oh, it was not that. It's content XML. Okay. So this is another directory where you can find, okay, if you cat this file, all the software are installed here. So meaning that if you haven't installed the software properly, you should make sure that you come here, you delete the whole. For me, it's already created here. For instance, what I just launched, this is what it is showing here. So if I fail with the installation, I have to come here and delete this line. Then this is one of the first things I have to do. Okay. But another way of deinstalling properly is to go to the Oracle Home. My software is still, okay? Go to the Oracle Home here. I know the installation is not done yet, okay? So don't worry. Let me see that the directory is there. You see this directory deinstall. For those who want to deinstall, they go to the Oracle Home, they will find a directory called deinstall. This is 12c. And under deinstall, they will find a script called deinstall. .issue./ you put the script and we give you 1 or 2 steps, easy to follow, and you just deinstall. Okay, so that's the best way to deinstall the software that's already installed. And this one is still running, so you see now it's already at this level, so it was quite fast. So you have this script now that is generated the root.sh to with the installation. If the root.sh will help you to complete with other other files here, like to complete with the bin, other stuff. So that's why it's very important to run it. Otherwise, some people will say, I call GBC is not working. I call this tool is not working because the root.sh script was not run properly. So once you have this script, you Control C, Oracle will provide you the steps, log in as root, run the script, and come and click OK. So what you have to do is to go to your VNC, okay, open a brand new terminal. Oh yeah, open twice. It's okay. Let me just close one of them. Okay, so we just connect as a root user. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. We with ourselves. I don't know why. So as root user now, you can paste. Make sure it's the same as what was here. Okay. You run this script. Okay. It will tell you the path, whatever, simply because on my software something was already installed. Okay. Let me remove this one. I don't like it. Why is it not closing? Come on, you know. I just want it. I don't want it. Please make sure you don't exit out. Okay. Close. Okay, maybe I cannot because this page is already displayed. So let me just try to bring it down like this. Maybe. Okay. But I should close you, right? All right. Okay. So this one is just where, okay, some environment file will go, like where your Aura env will go, okay, like where your the home. You can overwrite all those stuff. It doesn't matter. Or if you don't want to overwrite, we create another copy for you. Sometimes I don't overwrite. So that is what helps you to issue, okay, the Aura env. Dot space Aura env. These are the directories. Okay. So and that's it. Once it is completed, just come here, click on OK, and the installation is done. You can close. Okay, so that was it for the installation. Any question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what if you clicked on OK without running the script?
Now you won't be able to use some features. You won't be able to use some tools properly. You just messed up the installation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You install it right away. Yeah.
So, wait. I disinstalled it and I do it back again.
You install it, you install again. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you click OK and you come later on, you run a whole of SS script. It doesn't matter. It doesn't help anymore.
I mean, that means I can still do it now, like just.
No, that's why I just say that if you run the who.sh script after you click on OK, then it's also wrong. You won't help.
Okay.
Yeah, just deinstall it and reinstall it again. Make sure you run that script before you click on OK.
Okay.
Sense? Yeah. Another question? Any question? Okay, guys. So I think that was it for the installation. For every installation, the log files are stored. So you can go there later on and review your log file if the installation fails somewhere and so on for the record. Okay. Let's take 12 minutes. We come back at 7:10 or 7:15. Let's take 7:15. And I will just introduce the concept of Oracle 12c. Okay, I don't want our brain to be too busy today. Okay. I'll just introduce what it is, what is 12c, what is new on 12c. And Wednesday, we will proceed with the concept and also with some practicals. Okay, so let's relax it. Let's go and grab a glass of water and come back at 7:15. Okay. Thanks. All right. Okay. After the solution, let me just explain the little concept behind, 12C. So basically, I hope you guys can hear me. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So basically, 12C is just, an enhancement of 11G, as 11G is also an enhancement of 10G. So that is how it is. Any application is updated. You can have new version of the application, okay, coming with new features and also with better performance, and also, it can also help us to resolve some issues we had in the past. Okay, so that is what it is whenever you are dealing with a new application. That is also the same thing with the Oracle 12C. Oracle 12C, in addition to what you guys know on 11G, comes with new features, okay? Just to ease the GBA job, okay? And also the application users' job activities, and also to enhance, system performance or database performance, and also to resolve some issues you may encounter in the past. Let's assume that in the past we had some bugs that we hit, or some type of issue we are always encountering, maybe whenever we are doing some changes. Sometimes developer, whenever we are building a new version of the software, those type of issues can be resolved on the new version. So I just want you guys to know how important the 11G you guys learn is. So that's why 12C is just for 2 weeks, because we just add on top of what you know. We just add something on top of what you know already. So it means that whatever you know on 11G is still valid. Don't see somebody who said working on 18C, 19C, and you are scared. Because 18C is just 12.2.0.3, if I remember, or 0.4. So it's just an advanced version of 12C. Same thing for 19C, an advanced version of 12C. Okay, so that is just for business purpose. So the base is still 11G. That's why Brontech says teaches 11G, because you understand 11G. You just need to add something on top of that to make the 12C. Even though very soon we'll be teaching 12C from DB1. Okay, we are updating stuff. So we'll be having 12C and 18C very soon. So basically, what I'll be doing today, I'll be teaching on 12C just to tell you what are the enhancements, okay, or the new features, or drawbacks, or anything that is new that you could not find on 11G that you can find on 12C, okay? So whatever you know on 11G is still valid. Now, on 12C, for instance, on 11G, let me go to the 11G, what you guys know well. If to manage databases at the OS level, you have to connect to every single database, right? You guys know that you set the environment, you go to SQL Plus CTBA for every single database, okay? You cannot transition from a database to another one easily, okay? You have to exit the other database, exit the other terminal, and set the environment again for the other one. Same thing for backup. If you want to back up a database, you can back up a database. You can back up databases individually. So you back up the first one. You want to go to Arman. Arman can help you to back up the second one, and so on. You cannot back up multiple databases using one step. You need to back them up individually. Each database has its own backup strategy. If you want to update something at the operating system level, like we'll be doing what we call patching, that's the second project. If you want to update an operating system, okay, maybe you want to apply a patch, okay, on the software. If that software has 5 databases running on the operating system, you need to update each of those databases individually. So you need to connect to each database and run a script that we'll be talking about, cat bundle script or data patch script if you are on 12c. So it means that maintenance activities or whatever you have to do, you do that at every single database level, because every single database has its own instance and his own set of background processes and his own storage. That is what you guys know. If I take ORCL, ORCL has its own instance with its set of background processes, and ORCL has its own database, own control file, own data file. That's what you guys know. If I take TLS-GSMO, TLS-GSMO also has its own instance and its own set of background processes and its own data files. So it means that they are managed individually. They are maintained individually. You cannot maintain, you cannot back up all of them at once. You cannot patch all of them at once and so on. So for in an environment where you have 100 databases, let's assume I want to update multiple operating systems, multiple software. I may need to go database after database to apply the change. And it makes the job difficult for me, the GBA. So in addition to what you know, Oracle came with some new features. And today I will just focus on one of the key features, which is the multi-tenancy. Again, it doesn't replace completely what you guys know. So on 12c, you can still create a database as you know, like you create, okay, we create one. But you still have another type of database called multi-tenant. And in a multi-tenancy environment now, instead of having one database, one instance, one database, that means instead of having every single instance with its own database, we can have an instance and multiple databases. What does it mean? It means that now we can have a central instance. From that instance, we can have multiple databases using the resources provided by that instance. So multiple databases can use the same control file. Multiple databases can use the same PMON, SMON, and everything you know, the same SGA, the same PGA. How does it make things easy? Because whenever you connect to that instance, you can see all other databases just from that central instance. So if you want to shut down some of those databases, you can shut them down from that instance. If you want to back up all of them, you can back all of them at once from that instance. Because at that level, you can manage all other databases connected to the instance. So that is what Oracle brings. One of the features, okay? We're talking about more the next session. So with the multi-tenancy now, you have one instance with multiple databases. Let me take an example. Let's assume before you have ORCL. ORCL before for you, right, has its own instance. I call it instance 1, connected to its database, right? You have RCAT. Also have its own instance connected to its own database storage. We have TLS-GSMO. I'm just taking what you guys are familiar with, okay? In environment, they have naming conventions. So don't expect names like this. Note how they name your databases and instances. So this is what you guys have. What I just explained is that you may need to manage this one individually, back them up individually whenever you are on 11G. But on 12C, you can decide now to say, okay, I want a central location. That means only one instance. And from that instance, we connect ORCL database. We connect ARCAT. We connect GMO. So when I say here, this is TLS, so if I say that the database is TLS GMO, okay? Here ARCAT, so that's the storage, and so on. So now, all of them share the same instance, okay? So it's like in one instance, that from that instance we have, so it means that ORCL now can still keep some of its own data file. ARCAT can keep its own data file, GMO can keep its own data file. But I will explain to you further next class that some data file may not be found here anymore, but all the data specific to ORCL are still belong only to ORCL. All data specific to ARCAT are here. All data specific to TLS GMO are here. Let's assume that on ORCL database, we have a schema that was created only on ORCL. On ARCAT, we have another schema that was created only on ARCAT. We have TLS GMO, another schema that was created only on TLS GMO. Even here, ORCL will still have its own schema, ARCAT will still have its own schema, and TLS GMO will still have its own schema. But the difference now is that all of them now share the same background processes provided by this central location. So all they share the same SJ, the same PGA, the same Reduloc, all this stuff provided by the central location. So how does it help? So you now, if you are able to connect to this central location, you can monitor all of these, all these database from here. So if I'm able to connect to this location, I can decide to back up all the 3 databases at once using one step. If I'm connected to here, I can shut down these databases easily from here. If I'm connected to this location, I can easily connect to every single database here. So I can move from here to here. I can connect from here to here easily. I can easily connect from here to here. I can easily connect from here to here. So it makes the management a bit easier. That's the consolidation part of it. To backup, can back up all of them at once. If you want to back up individually, it's still possible. So you can now decide to connect to this individually or this individually. But if you want to manage all of them using one step, you can just connect to the central location. Okay, I'll give you guys the name. And from the central location or the central instance, you can manage all the databases from there. So for the scenario I said about patches or update on the system, if you are patching a system, you don't need to, for this example here, you need to shut down maybe this database, start it up, update it, do the same for this, update this one, do the same for this, update this one. So you may need to go database after database. But with this configuration, only from this location, if I shut down this central location, all these one go down. All of them, they go down. So meaning that I can just update the central location and everything will be updated. And imagine that you can have more than 256 databases connected to a central location like this. So what you just need is just enough space to monitor them. You need a bigger SGA, you need, okay? It's normal because now we have multiple workload, okay? So meaning you need more resources available. But when it comes to the management part, it is easier for you to monitor multiple databases from one location. That is a feature that exists on 12C onward. You will never find it on 11G. So 12C Here, 18C, 19C, they are here. Now, what's another benefit of this multi-tenancy? Here, what you guys should know is that for instances, any user is not connected to that, apart from you. Okay? So in environment, on every database, we have applications connected to databases. So application 1 is connected here. Application 2. Maybe this application is for sales. Sales application have its own database. Okay? Let me make it look better. Let me make it look realistic, okay? I don't want you guys to look at it like just, let's assume that, okay, I'm putting, let me see this. Why is it not? So let's assume okay. So again, your database is empty now because there's no application running on it. But in your environment, you will have an application connected here. Maybe 1 or 2, okay? Let me take 1. So this application is maybe, if you take sales, okay, finance, HR, application. Okay, so they just need what you call a connection string to connect. They just need, they have their own way of connecting to the database. Another benefit is that you can decide to convert an existing database like this into a database like this form. Okay, so I will give you the name. This one now, we call this architecture on 12C non-container. We call this architecture container with pluggables. So a container, okay, is basically like the root where everything can take place, and the pluggable are just databases connected to that root instance. So we call this pluggable, we call this container. And the architecture you guys have that can still be created on 12C is called non-container, because on the regular architecture you guys have, you cannot add multiple databases, you cannot add multiple databases on one instance. So with the application team, they don't have to change anything if you converted an architecture like this into a pluggable. They will still connect the way they were connecting before. They can still do the type of operation they were doing before. So they won't be affected at all. Okay? But you now, for you in the background, you ease the job for yourself because you can see everything from one location. You can see multiple databases from a central location. You can monitor multiple databases from a central location. You can shut down multiple databases from a central location. You can patch multiple databases from a central location. You can upgrade multiple databases from a central location. You can back up multiple databases from a central location. You can restore multiple databases from a central location. This is what makes the job easier. Okay? Question?
So which one did you say uses more resources? The other one or the one that we currently have?
No, the new one, of course, the container, simply because we now have multiple databases on one single instance, the instance should be bigger. Does it make sense? The instance should be bigger, right? To accommodate the load coming across all the other databases. Here, on this instance, only the database was connected to that. So the load, it only relies on the load coming from the HR application. So all the transactions from HR application are the only transaction affecting this instance. But now we have transaction coming from one application here, other transaction coming from another application, other transaction coming from another application. So we have now multiple applications, okay, sharing the same instance. So it means that we have more load than the previous architecture. Of course, it should be bigger.
Okay, so, and then like, since they share the same instance, if you decide to shut down one database, is it going to give you the option to choose to shut down all or just to shut down one?
You can shut down one. You can decide
Okay.
to, as connected to this central location, you can shut down, okay, individual databases. Or you can still connect to those individual databases and shut them down. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you can still manage databases individually, as we did previously, as you know.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, on the first scenario here. So if you said it's a non-container database,
yeah.
So if you bring it here and then it's being connected to the container database, it becomes a pluggable database.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah. It becomes a pluggable.
Also, from what Anita asked about shutting down the pluggable databases. So what about the container database? Can it be like shut down or something?
Yes, you can shut it down. If you shut down the container, all the pluggable will also be down. It also go down.
I understand. So I was just asking if in an instance when the container database can also be shut down.
Yes, it can be shut down, right? If you want to perform a maintenance activity. Okay. If you, I say, okay, I want to patch, that's a project we'll be doing. For patching, you need to shut down the database. If you want to patch all of them at once, you can shut down from the container and patch and start back up. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's possible. And the way you connect your container is actually the way you guys usually connect your databases. But the way you will connect your pluggable will be different now. Let me take an example. I think I showed that. Okay, I showed that in the morning class. So you guys know that moving forward, you guys will now make sure you get to the environment first, because you guys have more than one software now. You will have more than one software. So it means if you want to get to the 12C environment, you need to set the batch profile. And if whatever you will see running whenever you issue the PS-EF grep pmon is the container, is the instance. You guys know that that's the instance running there. Okay. So if you want to connect to a container, it's the same way you usually connect to. So whenever you guys issue SQL Plus and CCDBA, you are connected to the container. But whenever, and I will show you guys can try this command. Just a command like this can show you all the pluggables under that container. You can stop them, start them from here. And if you want now to connect your pluggable, you will no longer issue this command. So whenever you want now to connect your pluggable at the OS level, you may need to specify @ You put @ you put the pluggable name. So if the pluggable name is ORCL, you put SQL Plus, the username, the password, @ the pluggable name. You can now connect.
Okay, so the container is a database on its own. Does it have any other duties than to just be an instance for the other pluggable databases?
Very good. Very good. The container is a metadatabase and the pluggable is a database. Okay. Metadatabase means the primary role of the container is not for you to connect an application on it and perform your operation. The primary role of a container is because it can help you to monitor all the pluggable. So the container has a system table space as well. But that system table space, again, stores the information of all the pluggable. The container has a central control file, central redo-log file, but not the data file, because you don't have to have data file here. So this pluggable, I'll get deeper when we get to the next course, the next session. These pluggables also have their own data file now, because that is where the application is connected. And they have also their own system table space, but the system table space each of them have is specific to, okay, to that pluggable. So this container now is very important because the data dictionary, everything that you found on at the container level is the result of the sum of all the information from all the pluggables. That is why it's a meta database. Okay, so it's not meant for the application to connect to it. Okay, it's meant as the central location for management. Okay, and it's very important. So that is what is, if you want an application, just use a pluggable, and it's better. Does it make sense? Or do I answer a question or what?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, since you said that each programmer has his own data file. I mean, if you want to do the backup, each programmer will have his own backup, or
Okay. So if you decide to back up at the pluggable level, you will have its own backup set. Even if you decide to back up at the container level, you will back up each of them, and each of them will be stored in their own backup set as well. The backup set won't be mixed. But whenever you call Arrowman from at the container level, you will back up all the pluggables if you want to. Okay, if you want to back up all of them, you back up all of them. But the backup of each of them will go to its own backup set. So when you go to the FRA, you will find a directory for each of them somewhere there. Make sense?
yes. And then the container, is it a DBA created?
Yes, the container, yes, you will create it. That is part of assembly. I will show you how to create it. Yes, you can create you need a GBA permission, okay? You create it on GBC, you create it, okay? You can create it empty. That means you create it empty. It will come with what we call a seed, and I'll explain the seed in next class. When you create it empty, it's available so that the next time, so that you can just plug, okay, you can just create pluggable. That means you can maybe convert, okay, a non-container into pluggable. So it's available to receive pluggable databases, or you can create it with already existing pluggable databases, okay? So you have now 3 types of databases you can create on 12c. You can create non-container, this type, you guys are familiar with. You can create empty container, meaning the container doesn't have pluggables, or you can create a container with pluggables.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, what's the difference between the empty containers and then this other one, the first one that we're familiar with the?
Okay, very good question, very good question. The empty container comes with what we call a seed. The seed, the PDB seed, is actually what helps you to create multiple other pluggable databases. Okay, you guys cannot see that here. What happens is what? Is that an empty container will not come that empty. It will come with something like this. It will still come like this, the container, but we have what we call PDB seed. What is the user of this seed? So, but the other one, you guys know, is already one instance database. This seed is if you decide to create a pluggable here manually, you say, okay, let me add a pluggable to this container, or let me convert a non-container, okay, the architecture you have into a pluggable. For it to happen, you need to get the structure of pluggables from the seed. So this seed helps to provide a structure. So this one is like the sample you need in order to create pluggables. Without the seed, you cannot create a pluggable. So whenever I say empty container, you always see a seed, which is a mount state. So if I decide to create a pluggable, or I decide to convert a non-container into pluggable, it needs the seed in order for it to be created, because the structure should be the same. Okay, so we get the structure from the seed because the seed is a sample. Okay, but the other one doesn't have seed. So the other one, you guys know on 11G, are not container because you cannot add pluggable into them. Do you answer your question? Do you answer your question?
No, I'm still a little confused.
Okay, no problem. So what I was saying is, when I say empty container, it comes with an instance, okay, whatever you guys know, instance, SGA, PGA, okay, and all the stuff you guys know. But it always comes, even though it's called empty container, it's not that empty. It comes with a seed called PDB seed. This is how it comes. It doesn't come with anything else. So, what is the role of this seed? This seed helps as a, let me take it as a sample. That is, it's a structure. So it just like, it's a sample. Let me take it as a sample or a template. Let me the template. A template used to create other pluggables. Because the structure of a pluggable is not exactly as the non-container architecture you guys have. For instance, the non-container architecture you guys have, there's an instance plus a database. That means there's a storage, right? There's an instance. That means it has its own instance, its own database. But the pluggable doesn't have an instance. The pluggable just has a database. Okay? There's even some files the pluggable doesn't have. So in order for a pluggable to be created, you need to get that new structure from the seed, because its structure will no longer be as the regular one you guys know. So the empty container can help you. With the empty container, you can add pluggable to it. But with this regular single instance architecture you guys have, you cannot add pluggable to it. You can add pluggable to this empty container because we have a seed, and a seed is a template. So with the seed, you can create multiple pluggable from the seed manually. Okay? Does it make sense or still not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes. I have a question, please. I understood what you explained here, and I just want to know, like, there's like differences between the container, the non-container database and the pluggable database. I understood you just made mention of some here, so I want to know if there are some other like differences between the non-container and the pluggable. Because you just explained that here the non-container has an instance and database, while on the other side it's just the database which just comes without an instance. So I want to know if there are some other differences.
If I have a pluggable database, okay, let me call it pluggable PDB1. This pluggable database, the difference is, if you want to compare with a non-container, this pluggable doesn't have its own instance. Why? This non-container has its own instance, its own background process, and its own data file. Okay? So that is the first difference. Because this pluggable relies on the instance, on the root, okay? It doesn't have its own set of background processes specific to him, okay? But the non-container, you guys know, it has its own instance and a set of background processes and data file. And also, this one, the pluggable, doesn't have some type of data file. So the pluggable shares the Redulock with other pluggable. It shares the control file with other pluggable. Meanwhile, this one has its own control file, its own Redulock, its own data file, whatever you know. But the pluggable doesn't have its own control file, it doesn't have its own Redulock. On 12.1, where we are now, it also doesn't have its own undo table space. But on 12C release 2, it has its own undo table space. It can have its own undo table space. So you can see limitation you have from the pluggable. So whatever it comes to control file, Redo-log files, or undo table space on 12. Let's assume, because this is what you guys have now, please. On this version, the pluggable doesn't have its own control file. It doesn't have its own Redo-log files. It doesn't have its own undo table space. But here on the non-container, or the regular one you guys have, you guys know that it has everything. But here, if it doesn't have the redo, the whatever, that means the pluggable has its own system. Okay, you have its own system table space. He has his own 6 hours. He has his own temp if you want to. And also have his own user table space. Okay, but it doesn't have its own Redo-log. It doesn't have its own whatever. So this is the only thing that is specific to pluggable. Again, on 12C release 2, that means on 12.2, 0.1 or 0.2, because 0.2 is 18C. Whenever if I put 2 here, it's 18C. That is not business, as I told you guys. Okay? So on 12.2, now each pluggable will have its own local undo table space. That's it. So these are some differences you can see, okay, you can get from a pluggable and a non-container. Does it make sense, what I just said?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
I want to ask, like, which information does the pluggable need from the seed?
It needs the background processes. Without these background processes, the pluggable is useless. So that's why all the pluggable rely on the seed, because the seed is where the instance is running. It's where the PMON is available. It's where the checkpoint process is available. It's where the control file is, where the Redo-log is, where the log writer. So it completely relies on the seed. So if the seed goes down, the pluggable is useless. You cannot connect your pluggable.
All right.
Okay, so on your previous diagram, let's say, yes, this one. So if I want to turn ORCL into
Pluggable.
Yeah, no, not pluggable. Into a container database. That
Okay,
means
you cannot convert a non-container into container. That's a very good question. I want to emphasize that. Okay, it's impossible to convert a non-container into container, but you can convert a non-container into pluggable. Okay, so containers should be created individually. Okay, I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yes, you're answering my question. So I'm just still a little confused about the empty container. Because when you were explaining, you were pointing to the ORCL, so all these other ones, the ORCL, the ARCAT, TLS DMO. So where would the empty container come in? I know you said that an empty container you can plug databases to it. You can convert it in a way that you can plug other databases to it. So in that case, would that not be a container database?
No, basically, when it already contains one pluggable, in addition to the seed, it becomes a container. It is empty because you can create it empty without adding a pluggable to it. When we call it on GBCA Wednesday, okay, you can decide to create it as empty. That means without any additional pluggable, or you can create it with pluggables. You can go up to 256 pluggables, if I remember well. So we call it empty when it doesn't have a pluggable yet. It just has its own, the data file you guys know. That means the control file, Redo-log, system, table space, everything you guys know, plus the seed. That is empty. But now, once you plug a new pluggable to it, or you create, because you can create a pluggable directly from a container, okay? You don't need to plug another database to it. Once there's an additional pluggable database created under the container, under the non-container database, it becomes a container. So it stopped being empty whenever there's an additional pluggable that's created under it.
Okay, now I completely get it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Questions, please? Please clear your doubt. If you have any question, please just ask me now. Please.
I don't know, the questions are coming.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can, if you have any question, just go ahead. Don't worry about it. Because you guys need to understand this concept, this basic concept before we move forward. Okay, you will move to something else. You'll be exposed to this a lot in an environment, in companies. Oracle will stop supporting companies. I think it already stopped supporting was this September. So by the end of this September, most of the companies that are still on 11.2.1 is no longer even supported. So you can so you understand that most of companies are 11 or on 12C. So whenever I'm saying 12C, that means maybe they are using multi-tenancy or not. Okay, and moving forward, I will tell you that it's not free as well. Okay, even though you have it, you still have to pay an additional license to have it. So that's why it's not frequently used as well on all databases. Otherwise, all the companies, when they get to 12C, will use container multi-tenancy. But there's an additional money you have to pay to Oracle to be able to use this thing. Okay.
Okay. So as a company, right? You only have one container database for all your databases, right?
It's possible. It's very possible. If the server has enough resources, you can even put all the dev databases into one container, or all the production into one container, or all the tests into one container. Or you can even mix dev, test, prod in one container. There's a danger behind it.
So aside from like using more resources, what's another disadvantage?
It's just beneficial. Another disadvantage is yes, it's also something very important. Something people don't talk about it a lot. Let's assume I have a container with 100 pluggables, and I want to update 99 pluggables, but I don't want to update one of them. Maybe because the application that is connected to that pluggable doesn't want that pluggable to go down for any reason. So let me repeat again. I have a container with 100 pluggables. It means I have 100 applications. Let's assume maybe we have, because sometimes application can connect to one database or multiple databases. So let's assume that I have 100 pluggables and 100 applications are connected to that. This is an example. And I want to update, or I want to apply a change that requires downtime on 99 pluggables. But I don't want to do that on one of the pluggables because the application is still the one to give you to validate your change. Before you bring a database down, you always have to contact the application team. They always have to be aware of that because they are really, before you bring down a database, you need their approval. So let's assume 99 applications accept the downtime because that change is there, but one of them do not need that because there's something important. They don't want that because you go down the 24/7 for any reason. They don't want it. So it becomes difficult for you because you want to find a time when you can update all the 100 applications at once. Otherwise, you may need to go one after another. because from the container, you cannot update, you cannot shut down, unless, again, if you decide to shut down the container or the seed, you will shut down all the pluggables. So it means that in this example now, you may not take advantage of the multi-tenancy. You need to go at each pluggable level, stop it, okay? And even if you stop it, you can still not update it. So one of the techniques some people use to fix this issue is that container that can update, that has 100 pluggable and only 99 of them can go down, can afford the downtime. The only one that cannot afford downtime, we can create an empty container and we migrate that only database to that empty container, and the other one can be updated. So we can just unplug and plug. The downtime is, there are some plug and plug that you don't need downtime. So you can just do live cloning. It's a live clone. So you clone it, you unplug and plug. So with doing this now, you can now update all the 99 other databases while the other one is on its own container alone. And once you are done updating, you can bring it back again to the container. That is a technique some people use whenever maybe they want to update 99 or they want to update maybe just one of the pluggables. And they don't want to affect other pluggables in that container. Okay? So that is what cannot make it a bit difficult, because you cannot, among one of the pluggables, decide to apply a change on only one of them like that. You need to unplug that pluggable, put it on its own container, and apply the change there. And if you guys are understanding what I'm saying here.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, you can come back Wednesday, okay? Want you to understand the concept behind. I'll go to the slide Wednesday, okay? I just wanted to throw the concept.
Okay.
Any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
So if you unplug one of the plugs, they must be connected. You must plug them into another container, right? Means they can't stand alone.
Exactly. Yes. The plug cannot stand alone. Correct. Because it doesn't have an instance, so you have to go and put it in another container where an instance is running.
So when you unplugged it, what happened with the container you just created?
No, nothing happened to the container.
You can delete it, right?
The container will just update its dictionary. That is no longer there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You can unplug. Unplug is just like getting some of the metadata and even the data if you want to, and bring it in another container. If that container is on a different server, that pluggable can be running on both. Because unplugging doesn't totally mean that you are deleting or you are removing completely the pluggable from the container. You can decide to just do like a cloning. You guys understand what I mean by cloning. So just grab the metadata and the data of the pluggable and go and plug it in a different container outside or out of the server. And you keep this one running on this server. It's possible. But most of the time, whenever you unplug and you want to plug somewhere, you drop it from the previous container. You drop it. So you unplug and you drop it as well, so that it doesn't keep any other information, and all the information are only in the other container. It's part of the assignment. When you guys will be playing around with that, you understand, okay? And I will be there so that, okay, to clarify if there's any command people are not understanding, I will throw more light on it, and I will, okay, definitely I will be there to explain everything that you guys be doing if the group But I know if the group, okay, if there's something lacking from the presentation or from the demo, I will throw more light if needed. So, any question for me? Disconnect.
So I'm not concerning the pluggable stuff. What about the uninstallation?
I show you the uninstallation, right? When you, yeah, I show you, right, guys? You guys did not see. I said CD to Oracle Home. If the software is already installed, CD to Oracle Home. When you CD to Oracle Home, you will see a directory called ginstall. CD to ginstall. Once you CD to ginstall, you will see a script called ginstall. Put // you run the script. Ginstall. Okay? It will just ask you one information. It will just tell you to list the databases that are running under the home. You just put the data, if you have a database running there, you just list it and we just ginstall and delete the database at the same time. So these are the steps you should follow. That's it.
So you're uninstalling about the database or about the software, the 12-seat software?
I'm uninstalling the software, but if there's a database that was already created under it, you can at the same time delete the database while uninstalling. If you want to, but it's recommended that before you uninstall the software, make sure you stop the listener, you stop all the databases running on the software before you install it. Make sure they are not running, otherwise it will be, that's a system crash. They'll crash, okay? Those databases are deleted, are not properly deleted. You good?
Yes, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
So you mean you just shut them down or you just kill the instance?
You can shut them down. You just kill, right? You can kill at the OS level. You can just make sure they are down. So another person will go ahead one by one, delete from GBC. It's waste of time as well. You can do that. But you can just, while installing, list them here and it will install for you. But make sure they are down. Because you guys should know that the only thing that's important in the database, right? The only thing that's important on the database is the application data. You can create the database. What the database you guys are creating here are empty databases. They are empty because those files are found everywhere. Whenever you create a database, you always have system 6 or stamp undo. Those are files that come with every single database. What is important on the database is the application schema. So once you can save those schemas, the database itself is useless. That's how migration works. Migration, when you guys hear migration from Oracle to the cloud or migration across server, we are just moving those application schema, if it's HR schema or whatever schema it is, we just move that schema from that database to another empty database that was created somewhere else. And this one is useless, we drop it. That's how it is. All right, guys, that's another concept. We'll be talking about it during upgrade, okay? Any other question for me for today? Okay, good. So please go ahead. These are the assignment for Wednesday. By Wednesday, everybody should have installed it. This video is available. You can go through the steps we followed. Please, I don't want any excuse. Do that by Wednesday. Everybody should have installed Oracle 12c. And please, the class admin is Miss Renata, right? If I don't, is it Miss Renata?
Yes, Renata.
Okay. So yes, please, as I said, right, contact Prof to grant you guys permission on project. It should be available by next week. Because by this weekend, I will send you all the document about the data guide. And you guys need that page because that is where I will send you guys to get documentation. You guys need all this data guide you guys see here. All notes, videos, some stuff are found here. Very vital. It will help you even when you are working. So you guys need this page. So please just send the text to growth. And okay, I'll do the same, but you know, so that it will be available for you by next week, and before we jump into the project. Okay, that was it. More questions. So let's meet on Wednesday, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay. Patrick,
Yeah, Anita.
are you uploading or am I?
I can do it. That's fine.
Okay, all right.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Thanks.